Welcome, everyone. I appreciate that you've taken time out of your busy schedules to explore Google resources with Get Muscat. I am Philippa Arter, the Learn Captain for Get Muscat. Once a month, I'll curate Google Tech for educators, thereby creating opportunities for you to cultivate your confidence and boost your proficiency with the various apps. I hope you continue to engage with Get Muscat as we explore how Google's resources can enhance our evolving roles as educators. Today, we'll explore Gmail and Google Calendar. So if you're interested in enhancing your communication or managing your time, do stay for the duration of this session. For today's session, you'll need to access your Gmail account, the one point of entry for all apps Google. Since this is a collaborative learning process, I do hope you follow along on your own device. Email, as we all know, is a web-based email service developed by Google. We'll explore how Gmail can enhance our communication. We'll learn how to create a filter from a message, and use priority inbox. So let's get into our Gmail inbox. Filters help us to automate tasks. So let's create a simple filter. From within the Gmail inbox, at the top in the search box, select the down arrow. You're now presented with a very simple box of search criteria. Enter your preferred search criteria. I'm going to keep it simple tonight. We just maybe are looking for email messages from Get Muscat. Obviously, you can choose criteria from, of course, the sender to the recipient, a particular subject line. If the message contains a particular word, for example, training or summer or fall semester. Conversely, if it does not contain a particular word, you can also search by the size of the message, megabytes, kilobytes, and bytes. If you remember a specific time frame, that's also possible. We're keeping it simple with simply the sender being getmuscat@gmail.com. And we're going to, at the bottom of our search box, select Create Filter. Now we need to choose what we'd like this filter to do for us. I definitely want any messages coming from that center to skip the inbox, and I'd like to apply a label. But it's not on my list. Oh, here it is. There's our Get Muscat label. You select that and simply click Filter. But before we click the filter, if you notice, you have some other criteria that you can choose. You can choose to forward your messages, delete them, never send to spam, etc., etc. Be aware that when you create a filter to forward messages, messages currently in your inbox won't be forwarded. Only new messages will be forwarded. Since we're keeping it simple tonight, let's just simply hit Create Filter. And where can you see these email messages that have been now filtered not through the inbox but directly to a label? Well, on the left-hand column, there are all our labels, including the Get Muscat label. And if we click on it, well, we don't have any incoming email conversations yet, but in the future, anything received from that particular email sender will be deposited directly into our Get Muscat folder. We can also create a filter from an email message itself. So staying within Gmail's inbox, you want to navigate to your email message of choice. Here's one. Open the email message, and you want to Go to the vertical ellipses to the right that has more, select that. And notice your third choice is filter messages like this. Select, and once again we have a little criteria box that pops up. So we want to enter our criteria. Once again, you have the sender, the recipient, subject line, has the words, doesn't have, and size. We're going to keep it simple with just the sender in this case. And create filter. Once again, your second box asks you, what would you like to do with this particular search criteria? I wanted to skip the inbox, and I definitely wanted to go straight into a new label, since this had to do with a recipe. So I'm going to go and create a label, and we're going to call it cooking. No, not cooking, culinary delights. That's our new label. Click create. And then don't forget, select create filter. So in our left-hand column, once again, we can see our new label, culinary delights. Currently, no messages in it yet. We have to wait till new messages from that particular sender comes into the mailbox. If you ever need to modify a filter, simply select the settings cog, top right, and then you're going to select see all settings. At the top, you're going to choose filters and blocked addresses. And essentially, you're going to look for the filter that you'd like to adjust and make your adjustments. Notice that you can also select edit or delete depending on whether you are modifying or removing a particular filter. Matches from, I'm just going to delete this one, and I'll select delete. Confirm delete, yes, okay, and that's it. We can go back into our inbox. So as a general FYI, if you've become very proficient at filtering, yes, you can export and import filters, which of course would be another lesson for another session. In addition to filters, we can customize our inbox. Gmail can sort and prioritize email messages for us. So when we choose priority inbox, email messages are automatically sorted into sections. How do we do this? So from within Gmail's inbox, you want to go back up to the settings cog, see all settings, select inbox, and our first choice is inbox type. When we hit that down arrow, we would like to select priority inbox, and we're given a few options. Of course, all of this means you can customize. So we have important and unread. What are your options? You can also just simply say important. How many items do you want to show up in this section? 5, 10, or 25? I want to keep it simple. We're going to choose 10. If you have any starred messages, if you select that, again, we're keeping it at 10 items. Notice the everything else will always be listed last. If you'd like to add a section, you surely can, but we're not going to do that tonight. We're going to keep everything simple. Sorry, everything else, let's give it up to 50 items. Why not? Those are your sections. Of course, you have a few other boxes that you can customize. Your inbox unread count. How do you want your items listed? Unread items in the first section, Or do you want them in the inbox? So you have quite a few choices here that you can make to customize your priority inbox. Reading pane. This is definitely a personal choice. I am going to enable it so you can see what it looks like. So if you enable the reading pane, you can actually read the messages right away without having to click on the email. Your pane positions are no split. Do you want it to the right of the inbox or below? Let's choose the slightly less chosen below inbox. And you have a few other criteria. Remember to click Save Changes. Gmail does its thing. And this is what it now looks like. Notice we have 3 sections. We now have important and unread. We've read all our messages. We have starred. We don't have any correct right now. And then there's everything else. So here are all our messages, 1 to 67. If I were to select a message, let's see what the reading pane on the bottom looks like. If I select this message, there's the reading pane at the bottom, and I could immediately read this email address. So let's do a quick lesson check. We have, within Gmail, created a filter. We have created a filter from within a message, and we've activated and customized our priority inbox. Let's move on to Google Calendar, which is Google's web-based time management and scheduling calendar service. We'll explore how Google Calendar can help us conveniently manage our time as well as help us schedule events. We'll learn how to create a calendar event, change an event's privacy settings, and manage calendar event notifications. So let's head on over to Google Calendar. You want to select the Create button if you are creating a new event. It's in the left-hand column, big button that says Create. And as usual, Google gives you lots of options. And we're just going to work through these from top to bottom to populate the specific details for this event. Let's add a title. Let's call it Summer Training Series. This is an event, not a task. Let's pick a date for this. If you select the date, here comes your little calendar, which you can advance. Since it's summer, we're going to do this sometime in June, so let's choose the 15th of June. Why not? Time, let's make it a little earlier in the day, 1:45 p.m. to 3:45 p.m., 3 hours. Don't forget to set your time zone. We are very global citizens now, and we have to be very cognizant of that. So we are in Gulf Standard Time, which is GMT +4. So make sure that you select the correct time zone for your event. Is this event that's going to repeat or not repeat? Just for demonstration purposes, I will let this be an event that actually repeats, and let's do a custom repeat. So I do want it to repeat every 1 month on the 15th of the month. And when does this end? Never? Does it go into perpetuity? Or starting on June the 15th, do you want it to end July 15th, August 15th? You can use a calendar. Or do you want to go by the number of occurrences? Since I've labeled this a summer training series, let's say I want it to end after 4 occurrences. And I'm going to select Done. Yes, you can add guests. Why don't we add a few? for today's purposes. We have GEG. We have quite a few emails now. We have GEG, Muscat, training. So you can go ahead and add a few invitees, etc. You always have the usual guest permissions. In this case, are your guests able to modify this event? Can they invite others? Can they see the guest list, etc.? Now we know we have the option of meeting with Google Meet virtually online. You can add a location if it's going to be a physical location. Since we're not sure, June, what our COVID conditions would be, we're going to leave this blank for now. Always you can add a description, a new training series for all things Google. Let's modify that, a new 4-part training series for all things Google. And yes, you can even add an attachment. Let's play with that as well. From your drive, shared with you, uploaded. Let's pop into our drive really quickly and see what we have. Recipe showcase. Just for the purposes, demonstration purposes, we're going to select that one. And now your event actually has an attachment. And then we're going to hit save. Notice it asks you if it would like Google to send the guests an invitation email. For demonstration purposes tonight, I'm going to say don't send. Now, because we've attached a file, it's letting us know that someone needs to access the file. Remember to toggle your preferences. Do you want your invitee simply to view the file, be able to comment on it, or edit? I'm going to leave it as view and invite. So we have actually just created an event, and there it is on our calendar for June the 15th. Let's pop in really quickly, double click on the event, because I don't like the color blue. I'm going to change it to something a little bit more visible, yellow, and I'll hit save again. Because this is a recurring event, Google Calendar is asking if the change of the color is only for this event, this and following event, and all events. Since it's a series, this and following events. Okay. Very helpful as usual. This is June. Let me give you a very quick view of July. There's July 15th, the second in the series. And there's August the 15th, the third in the series, and there's September 15th, the fourth in the series. None in October, because when we created the event, we said to end after 4 occurrences. And that's how you would actually create a calendar event. Now, in this day and age, we have to be very cautious, of course. So why don't we go back into our event and change the privacy settings? So of course, staying within Google Calendar, navigate to any event you'd like to adjust. I'll go back into our summer training series event. And as you scroll down here with your different criteria, you notice that you have a choice that says default visibility. If you're not too sure what that is, Google gives you a little assist with a. So this event follows the sharing settings of the calendar. Anyone can see details of other events, can also see this event's details, including the description and names of attachments. So default visibility, you can toggle between public or private or vice versa. So we're going to leave this one public, and immediately Google Calendar lets you know that anyone can see this event's detail, including the description and names of attachments, etc. And we're going to hit save. Because it's a recurring event over 4 dates, 4 months, we do want this change to affect all in the series. So this and following events, and select OK. Be aware that when you adjust the privacy settings for an existing event from private to public, this change will be reflected on your calendar, but not on other guests' calendars. So now that we have our recurring series, there's one more adjustment that we can make. We need a notification because I'm sure you'd like to be reminded of upcoming scheduled events, and we're all busy people. Since I'm conducting this training on a computer, on a laptop, the steps for managing event notifications are going to look slightly different than on a device. Staying within Google Calendar, of course, you can either create a new event or navigate to a scheduled event. I'm going to navigate right back to our summer training series. And we're going to open our event. And very straightforward, I'm going to delete that one. It says add notifications. So if you select that, you have a couple choices. Your notification can be in minutes, hours, days, or weeks. You choose your increments. Now remember, this summer training series is happening once a month for 4 months. So maybe for us, it'll be more convenient to choose weeks. We don't want it at 10 weeks. Maybe we just want it 2 weeks prior. So again, always have choices. Okay. If you notice, you can have, Now you can receive notification in a number of ways. Email, as a desktop notification, or as an alert. Also your choice. This is a notification. Notice you also have a choice of an email. I'm going to leave it as a notification. And it's going to happen 2 weeks prior to the event. Let's add another notification. And then we want it 2 hours prior to the event. So we've actually now added 2 notifications to our summer training series event. Let's make sure we select save. Once again, because it's a recurring event over 4 dates, 4 monthly dates, I do want this change to affect all 4 of the dates. So I'm going to select for this and following events and choose OK. So in case you're wondering, Google Calendar will send email notifications to invitees who themselves are non-Google Calendar users whenever an event they're invited to is updated or deleted. So let's do a quick lesson check. Now we can create a calendar event. We can go back in and change the privacy settings for a calendar event, and we can also manage the notifications for a calendar event. Today, we've explored Gmail and Google Calendar. So now that you're a little bit more familiar with what both of those apps can do for you, you should feel more confident in incorporating the apps into your pedagogic life. The more frequently you tap into these Google resources, the more proficient you'll become in their use. As we come to the end of today's session, I would like to encourage you to continue exploring Google resources. Since GEG Muscat wants to be an effective and relevant resource for Oman's educators, please fill out the survey for today's session. Thank you so much for joining me today for Learning by Doing. Do reach out and connect to Geg Muscat via email, gegmuscat@gmail.com. Specifically, if you need to, the subject line Learn. Of course, you can get to us via Twitter, watch us on YouTube, and even join us as a member of Geg Muscat. Join me again in April. Thank you.